Whether you like him or not, whether you think he should be in the Hall of Fame or not, it can't be denied that based purely on statistics, Barry Bonds is arguably the greatest player in MLB history. There were many things that Bonds did in his career that will never be replicated by any other player. In this video, we're going to break down 8 facts that prove just how incredible he was. Before I get into it, welcome to the War Room, a channel where I discuss all things sports related. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, and let's get straight to it. OPS is a stat that calculates a player's on-base percentage plus slugging percentage. In 2022, the league-wide OPS for hitters was a 706. You might find it impressive that in Barry Bonds' career, his OPS was a 986. In other words, 280 points higher. You'll notice that I put an asterisk next to the 986, and that's because this number is Bonds' career OPS if he only faced Hall of Fame pitchers. His real OPS for his entire career was a 1051, which ranks him 5th all time. And by the way, the 986 OPS versus Hall of Famers would still rank him as the 12th highest ever. So even if Bonds only faced Hall of Fame pitchers, he's still a better hitter than roughly 99.9% of players to ever play the game. In fact, in 2004, Bonds set the record for the greatest single season OPS of all time with a 1422. Just to show you how crazy that number is, imagine this. A player could go 2 for 5 with a single and a home run in every game they played for an entire 162 game season, and at the end of the season, obviously, this would mean you had 162 singles, 162 home runs, 324 hits, and a 400 batting average, and this player's OPS would be a 1.4, still lower than Bonds in the 2004 season. You can't mention any crazy Bonds stats without talking about his intentional walks, and when you're probably the most intimidating hitter of all time, it makes sense that pitchers would want to give you the free pass. Let's look at the top 5 all-time intentional walks leaders. Willie McCovey with 260, Hank Aaron with 293, Stan Musial is 3rd with 298, Albert Pujols is 2nd with 316, and Barry Bonds comes in at the number 1 spot with 688 intentional walks. If you multiply 688 times 90 feet, which is the distance between home plate and first base, that is a total of 61,920 feet. Just to put into perspective how far that is, Mount Everest is 29,032 feet. Less than half the distance Bonds spent walking to first base after literally just having to stand in the batter's box and do nothing. But the crazy intentional walk stats don't end there. The Tampa Bay Rays are Major League Baseball's newest franchise after getting added to the league in 1998. If you took the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of players that played in a Rays uniform since '98 and added up all of their intentional walks that came as a member of the team, it totals to 663. Which means to this day, 15 years after Barry Bonds retired from baseball, he still has more intentional walks than the entire Tampa Bay Rays franchise. The whole category of intentional walks with Bonds are a prime example of video game numbers. I can talk about it all day, but I'll save any other stats in that category for a potential part 2. Now let's discuss Bonds as a player overall. Over the course of MLB history, most guys known as base stealers didn't hit a lot of home runs. Most home run hitters were not expected to steal a lot of bases. And although Bonds was known as a home run hitter, base stealing was a strong part of his game that often gets overlooked. Right now, there are 8 players in MLB history in the 300-300 club, which is at least 300 career home runs and 300 career stolen bases. Steve Finley and Reggie Sanders both snuck in. Barry's father, Bobby Bonds, is in the club as well. Carlos Beltran and Andre Dawson were all-around great players. Willie Mays and A-Rod are 2 of the greatest hitters ever that could also swipe some bags. And then there's Barry, with 762 homers and 514 stolen bases. But keep in mind, this is the 300-300 club. If you look at the ratio of home runs to stolen bases from the players on this list, you'll notice that Barry Bonds is the only player to also be in the 350-350, 400-400, and 500-500 club. Again, just showing how big the gap was between him and everyone else. I have full confidence in saying that Bonds from 2001 to 2004 is without a doubt the greatest baseball player to ever walk planet Earth, and there's no other 4-year span you can find from any other player in history that comes close. Bonds won 4 MVPs in a row during this time period and retired with 7 MVPs. No other player in MLB history has finished their career winning more than 3. For the 8th and final stat of this video, we'll talk about Bonds' WAR. For anyone who doesn't know, WAR stands for wins above replacement, which is a stat that takes into consideration a player's numbers in all facets of the game and calculates how many more wins he contributes to his team compared to a replacement level player at the same position. Essentially, it's the closest single stat we have to calculating how valuable a player is overall. Bonds' career WAR ranks 4th highest all time at 162.8, and from 2001 to 2004, his WAR was a 47.3. This is higher than the Expos, Tigers, Royals, Brewers, and Mets' entire team's WAR during that same 4-year span. The things that Barry Bonds did on the field were unbelievable. He is a maxed out MLB The Show player come to life. He played a huge role in one of the most exciting eras in baseball history, and we will never see a player like him ever again. But that wraps up this video. Let me know in the comments what you think. Please like the video if you enjoyed and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Thank you for watching, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next one.